You likely noticed the CFP 12-team committee getting cute again, which puts the Big 12 officially on notice because getting the 12 best teams will likely not be designed to benefit the Big 12 by any means, in case you hadn't noticed.
You are Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily podcast on the Oklahoma State Cowboys, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Howdy, y'all, and hello, all. Welcome back to Locked On Oklahoma State, your daily stop for all things cowboy and cowgirl related. My name is Cody Stovall. I want to thank you kindly for stopping by to make this your first listen. We're available on all of your podcasting platforms visually as well on YouTube. Find me personally on X at All Day O State. Today, we're partially brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment matter more with FanDuel because right now, new customers get $150 back in bonus bets with any $5 or more winning bet. Make sure you get started today by going to FanDuel.com/lockedon. We get started with the madness that is the CFP committee. Now, is anybody surprised that the CFP committee decided to make some changes? No, it was inevitable after the Pac-12 decided to not exist anymore. But one of the changes that they decided to make, I think, is pretty preposterous. And clearly, it seems as though it's indicating that it's designed to favor some other conferences. It's designed to favor the haves as opposed to the have-nots. Once again, unfortunately, I do think this shows a clear shift in where the landscape of college football is likely to go. The benefits that seem to be permeating for the Big Ten and for the SEC are not going to change anytime soon. So originally, the idea was to get the six, top conference champions as basically the automatic qualifiers. Well, that has changed, and that's no longer the case. Now, they've decided to mix it up. So I'm going to read this little excerpt here. Under the new 12-team format that begins in the fall, the four highest ranked seeded 1 through 4, and each will receive a first-round bye, while teams seeded 5 through 12 will then play each other in the first round on the home field of the higher-ranked team. Obviously, 5 against 12, 6 against 11, 7 against 10, 8 against 9, kind of similar to basketball. The quarterfinals and semifinals will be played at New Year's Six Bowl locations. The national championship game will continue to be at a neutral site. No conference will qualify automatically, and there will be no limit on the number of participants from a conference. Whenever you read that, that clearly seems to indicate they're shifting towards the idea of we don't want to limit the SEC. We don't want to limit the Big Ten. We don't want to prevent them from getting as many teams in as physically possible because it is about the dollar bills. And that's all they're trying to do is maximize the profits. Okay, that's fine. That's understandable. What they seem to potentially fail to realize is the Big 12 has a lot going for it. The parity in the Big 12 is going to be worth its weight in gold when it comes to viewership, when it comes to numbers. Is everybody around the country going to be obsessed with Big 12 football? No, not initially, but it is going to be more enticing. And it is going to bring a lot of extra flavor from the West Coast that will be good for the conference. If Utah is good for the conference, then we all hope that they have a phenomenal season. If Oklahoma State is good for the conference, we all hope that they have a phenomenal season. Same with Arizona. Same with KU. Same with Tech. Same with even the UCF, right? We need to kind of get in the same vein of where the SEC started a long time ago. Before they were the almighty SEC, they were hooting and hollering about, being together, SEC. And they would root for each other, cheer for each other, all that fun jazz. The Big 12 didn't do that. There was always a decent amount of animosity in the Big 12. There was always a decent amount of finger pointing because, well, they don't do this and they don't carry their weight and they get more money and they want their own TV deals. Now, those problems are gone. Right? So the Big 12 is in a very good position, and it is going to be intriguing for the national audience to witness what the Big 12 does this season. The downside to the parity being the best in the country is the fact that that does leave you some inopportune moments where the bottom part of the league can pick off the top part of the league and it not be a massive discrepancy because the talent level is so even. Now, the two deeps towards the end of the season, that will make a big determination on who's going to represent the Big 12 in the CFP. But just like it was massive for the Big 12, especially in the negotiating for Brett Yormark after Bob Bowlesby left, was the fact that TCU was having a major amount of success. It's the fact that TCU knocked off Michigan, played for a national title. That put us in a good spot. And then last year, the Big 12 had a lot of success as well. Oklahoma State playing in the Big 12 title game against Texas definitely had a hand in that. But when you look at what this does and what this potentially shakes out to be is more spots for them, which means less spots for us. Guys, they spoke loud and clear last season with denying an undefeated Florida State with a spot in the CFP. Now, as much as I would like to give them credit for putting the Texas representing Big 12 in there, we all know that was less about them being in the Big 12 and more about the propping up of the future SEC style stuff. So this year is massive for the Big 12. It's obviously huge for Oklahoma State because we fully anticipate and intend on playing for that Big 12 title. Utah does as well. Arizona's going to have a shot. K-State's going to have a shot. Texas Tech's going to be good. Iowa State's going to be a problem. UCF should be a problem, at least on paper. Colorado, on paper, should definitely be a massive problem. So regardless of how it shakes out, I do think Oklahoma State would be the best to represent the Big 12 if it did get down the pipeline. But we need more than one team in this season. Right? So as much as the parity of the Big 12 is awesome to watch, and it's going to do a lot for viewership, and it could potentially do a lot for future recruiting, I hope that it doesn't kill us this season. I think that's kind of what they're banking on. I think that the people up in the ivory towers are hoping that the Big 12 will do what it's been doing for the last couple of years, and that's almost essentially eat itself. And if it can eat itself so much that it has a bunch of 2-3 lost teams, then they will probably do everything in their power to not give us a very high chance. But if we answer the call, let's say we have another TCU, and I don't care if it is TCU. It could be TCU. If that happens again, we need to capitalize. Just like Mike Gundy needs to capitalize and Oklahoma State needs to be one of the representatives. But I think it would be a little bit of a travesty if we didn't get at least 2 teams in. Now, I think getting over 2 would be biting off a little bit more than we could chew. Yeah, maybe. But by removing the conference champions automatically, and they're just going off of the CFP rankings, the top 6 CFP ranked, and then, the next of the bunch in the CFP rankings will get the spots. That goes to show you they're trying to weigh the conference titles a little less heavily. Because let's say the same thing that happens as this last season, where they have to put Bama in, even though Georgia really seems like the best team in America by a decent amount. They wanted Georgia in, and Georgia deserved to be in. But that chap they're high to no end. So this is the model that will fix that. Moving forward, the next time that happens, let's say the SEC championship game goes a little bit wonky and a little bit sideways, that gives them more ammunition to say, well, you know what? You don't have to be a conference champion. You're still the second, third, fourth, whatever best team in the country. So this is now the Big 12 climbing up a hill, which is okay. This is not a horrendous spot to be in. A horrendous spot to be in would be what the Pac-12 went through or what the ACC is currently swimming through the muddy waters over right now. But this just puts a bigger emphasis on Brett Yormark and the Big 12 to capitalize this season, whether it's Oklahoma State, Utah, TCU, Arizona, Iowa State. It doesn't matter. We need to have another big boy, big time 13-1, 12-0 style of ball club in order to give us the opportunity to have multiple teams get in. This conference is good enough to get multiple teams in. And if we do that, I think that it's very possible that we show the country that the depth, the quality of opponents you play week in, week out will prepare you better for those moments than some of the other schools. I do think that's why TCU did beat Michigan. because they were more battle tested. Michigan had way too easy of a schedule, and then Michigan, obviously, they got their title. But this is a good opportunity for Brett Yormark to capitalize on getting 2 Big 12 teams in. And honestly, at this point, we just need to not deal with the crap that OU and Texas brought to the conference. And we all need to sing Kumbaya, grab hands, throw up the Big 12 logos, and cheer on whomever gets there. Because we need more representation for the future of the guys we get to get into the dance. They're doing this move to get more Big Ten and more SEC schools in. That's it. Point blank, period. The only way that you prevent that from being a year in, year out thing is to kick the door down and do something about it. That's what we have to do this year in the Big 12. And we also, as a conference, probably would help ourselves by being pretty tied in together with that. That's kind of rare for the Big 12. Yes, I understand that. But I also understand that not having OU in Texas as a big thorn in everybody's side should help as well. All right, so I need to take my own advice on this one. I've been having some car trouble. So we're now down to one vehicle, and as things get wild, wacky, and crazy with the weather, there's not a lot I can do about it. But what you can do about it is make sure that you have the right passion, drive, and patience to bring home a W in your ride or die rig. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle to keep it up to its peak performance, from superchargers to roof racks, LED lighting kits, exhaust kits, and more. It doesn't matter if speed, power, or style is your cup of taters, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts to choose from, you will always find exactly what you're looking for. And the eBay Guaranteed Fit means your part is guaranteed to fit or your money back every time. Because with eBay Motors, the objective is to have you burning rubber instead of burning through cash. With all the parts you need, all the prices you want, it is super easy to turn your rig into the MVP. Bring home that W. Keep your ride or die rig alive with ebaymotors.com. Go to ebaymotors.com today. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. Because you're all special and whatnot. You're special in the eyes of eBay. You're special in the eyes of me today. You're also special in the eyes of Cowboy Country, or should I say, Cowboy Country got to look special for all Cowboy fans by going 5-0. That's an impressive day. And, we had some teams like J.C. Hoyt and the Cowgirls that needed to kind of get back on track, because if they didn't get back on track, it was going to be a difficult proposition for them to even sniff getting into the tournament. Now that we got this W out of the way, as the Cowgirls were able to take down UCF pretty convincingly, I might add, 67-54, we have one of the best freshmen in America. We've said it before. We'll say it again. As Staley Hurd shows up to chip in 17, the All-American transfer that we needed her to be. Hannah Gusters has been rock solid all year. Those two are a massive reason why we even have an opportunity to be a 500 ball club that can make a run in the Big 12 tournament to give ourselves a shot at making some noise in the dance. Cowboy basketball. Oh, my Atlanta. Not only did we win a game, but we won a game on the road. And we did a pretty good job, right? And that's back-to-back W's. And now it gives us the opportunity for the one that we want. If you're winning 3 in a row, make it be Bedlam. Before we won these last 2 games, what I was begging for was just, if we're only going to get one more W, please let it be Bedlam, so we can at least give them a swift kick in the tuchus on the way out. Now we've won back-to-back games. That's great. You got to give us this one, okay? If you could, it'll be in GIA. Hopefully it'll be packed to the brim, because it was packed pretty close to the brim, right? Had a little over 9,900 representing the Cowboy faithful for Bedlam. We got that W in wrestling. Now we get to kick it up a notch because we have a sellout for college wrestling's greatest rivalry. which is Oklahoma State and Iowa. It's already been announced. It's going to be packed to the brim, 13,611 plus. If we can overtake the greatest crowd in Gallagher Iowa history for this one, that would be huge. And let's face it, everybody out there from Tulsa, Oklahoma City, in those suburban or rural areas, all right, if you wanted to feel the Gallagher Iowa experience, this is your opportunity. Getting Iowa in this one is going to be huge. Not only is it going to be huge, but it's going to be a good catalyst for how the season is going to be. If we get this W, it's the first time that we've had this level of success with this many ranked W's since 2004. And we won a national title in 2004. The last time we beat 13 ranked opponents, we won a national title. The last time we beat 4 top 5 opponents, we won a national title. Am I saying that this is national championship worthy? We're scoring enough bonus points that we will make Penn State nervous. I still think that Penn State should get us this year. They should. But if we keep wrestling like we've been wrestling, and if we can take care of Iowa, and then we can compare what Iowa was able to do against Penn State, that will give us a much better barometer. All right, we're going to keep on chucking here because we got a W in baseball, which is nice. You had to get back on track. A little bit of an oddity to see Rob Walton use 6 pitchers. That's okay, because we'd rather see Rob Walton use 6 pitchers and get a W than Rob Walton use 3 pitchers, pull them at the wrong times, and not really find the right recipe for success. Because I think Blake Davis is going to be big time. I really, really do. But I also think that if the bats can come around, we could have a big season. Aiden Miola, he has a big bat, but he's super athletic. He can play a multitude of spots. If he can get hot, I think he's a Nolan McLean style of guy. Zach Earhart, last season, his injury, right, kind of derailed some of his progress. We didn't get to see him for most of the season. The latter half of the season, you saw him come back. It's not like he had to shake off the cobwebs. He performed pretty admirably when he did come back. He's off to a hot start. If we can get this pitching rotation figured out, dag nabbit, Rob Walton, we're a good baseball club. We recruit well. We've got talent. We've got guys that can go yard. We've got guys that can play a little bit of small ball. We've got guys on the pitching staff that should be and could be all Big 12 caliber. We just can't waste them, right? If we have a Jerron Waltz Brown somewhere back there, we don't need to waste it, right? If we've got a Coda Glover, let's not waste it. It doesn't matter if you've got to exercise your own demons on the technological advancements of the pitching rotations, right? Whatever you got to do. But if you can't get it done, you got to go retire, find a new job, do something. Josh Holiday needs to stop being so nice, okay, to his buddy Rob Walton. If Rob Walton cannot get the pitching rotation down, it's so frustrating seeing Cowboys in the major leagues take the mound, have good appearances, and then wonder what it would have been like if he'd have done that in Stillwater. Like, I'm not going to get on a big tangent, okay? I don't want to go wild, wacky, and crazy myself. But, yeah, we needed to win that game. Yes, it does set us up because we should beat Michigan. Then we have the number 2 team in America to play, followed by the number 6, 7 team in America to play, in Arkansas and Oregon State. And, speak on the same vein, in the Diamond, got to give a shout out to Cowgirl softball. It was ugly, okay? But ugly W's are still W's. And we dug ourselves a very deep hole. We gave up, 6 runs fairly early on. We want to talk about pitching rotations. There's something a little wild, or at least they were starting to become something a little wild in Stillwater with the softball squad. But, okay, after finding a way to get the bats super hot, we came back, beat Stetson, and now we just took down number 4 Washington. Not only did we take them down, but we smoked them 7-0. Ivy Rosenberry might be climbing her way up into being the next Kelly Maxwell. That was supposed to be Lexi Kilfoyle, and we're not out on Lexi Kilfoyle, all right? She's still got a lot of skills. She's still the main thing. But Ivy Rosenberry might be pushing this thing up a little bit of an extra notch. Okay. And if that happens, Coach Kenny Gasky has said multiple times, this is hands down the best offensive team he's ever had in Stillwater. So offensively, we need to see more of what we've seen recently. But you could look back on that game against LSU and the game against Georgia as pivotal moments of learning. And if we learn from it and we come back and do the daggone thing, then we're good to go. Oh, and of course, tennis got another W. Both men's tennis and women's tennis is doing phenomenal. Don't know anything about the men's tennis side of the game, but I'm pretty excited to see what the women's tennis does. I'm invested. Women's tennis, you got a fan. All right. You got a fan in me. All right. Speaking of being a fan, I hope you're a fan of FanDuel, because if you're a Cowboy, it's time to hammer the over. I mean, you all know that. I'm preaching to the choir here. But before we hammer the over football, okay, it's still basketball season. Sometimes we got to get buckets and bucks simultaneously with America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers get $150 back in bonus bets with any $5 bet. That wins. If it wins, you win. And then you win again with the extra $150 back in bonus bets. Bet on your favorite NBA players or NBA teams, whether it be same-game parlays, exclusive player props, quick bets, who's going to score the next bucket or who's going to win the whole daggone thing. Go to FanDuel.com/lockedon today. Make sure you shoot your next shot with FanDuel. Make sure it's your best shot, because FanDuel is the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. So now that we've witnessed the reemergence of wrestling, now that we've seen Oklahoma State women's tennis win an ITA national title, it sets them up for a legitimate shot at the national title come May. Not only does it give us a legitimate national shot, now we are the team with the target on our chest, and we get to host the national championships in Stillwater, Oklahoma. So as we just got national championship number 53, 2024 is setting us up for at least number 54, right? Women's tennis should win the NCAA title. Men's wrestling is going to at least have a say in what happens for the NCAA national title in wrestling. Again, Penn State is still, they bonus point us a decent amount, but they haven't faced as stiff of competition. They haven't beat 13 ranked wrestling squads this season. They haven't beat 4 top 5 squads. So although they have the same ability and they're scoring bonus points to the same level as Oklahoma State, they're not facing the same level of competition. They're sweating a little bit. So if women's tennis doesn't bring us national title number 54, men's wrestling will have an opportunity to do so. It would be an upset. It would be a big deal, but it's a possibility. When you're scoring like this, you can get this thing done. And then, we're ranked in the top 4 in track. So we're going to have some opportunities to get a national title. And you know what? It would make everybody's world if Oklahoma State were to win one in football. And do I think that that's likely? No, I don't. But have you ever heard of any team, anywhere, anytime, returning essentially 21 of 22 guys in college or professional level? Like, that doesn't happen. So if there's ever been a time as an Oklahoma State fan where you looked at a roster, you looked at the schedule, you looked at the lay of the land, where you could say, you know what? We have a legitimate shot. If it was the 4-team playoff, Oklahoma State should have the opportunity to play for that. But here's the beauty of it. This is, again, why capitalization is key, not only for Mike Gundy, but also for Brett Yormark. We got to have 2 teams represent the Big 12 this season, the first season of the 12-team playoff without OU and Texas. We need 2 teams in. So that means we're going to need one of our top dogs to just cruise. It is what it is. And again, I don't care who that cruising team is. If it's us, Utah, K-State, TCU, West Virginia, who gives a hoot? But somebody's got to take the flag and say, I guarantee I will get us in. And then somebody else has to be good enough and you take enough pride in what they're trying to produce to say, you know what, we're right behind you. So if that's an undefeated team that loses in the Big 12 title game, and that means 2 Big 12 teams get in, so be it. We're good enough, but we have to show it because perception can equal reality if you prove it. The perception is the SEC and the Big 10 deserve to get more teams in. We know in Big 12 country that they deserve it because of the money, because of the exposure. Now, they've earned it over time, yes. But we also know that the bottom half of the SEC and the bottom half of the Big 10 is the same as the bottom half of the ACC. They have bigger dudes with more money. That's it. The Big 12 is different. Being in the Big 12 hits different. The hits week to week to week to week are different, and you don't get to play the Citadel and Chattanooga in week 10. The teams in the Big 12 that beat the absolute tar out of each other need to be representing the 12-team playoff for the Big 12 with at least 2 teams this season. It's a possibility. Texas Tech has the talent to sneak up and surprise people. TCU, I think, is definitely going to sneak up and surprise some people. Oklahoma State and Utah should be very, very, very good. Kansas State clearly has the talent and the coaching to throw their hat in the ring. And then we can't forget about KU. So I would love, especially since we don't even play KU, it would be amazing if KU could go on a, 12-1, 12-0 style of run to meet us in Arlington. And then if we're in Arlington, don't really care what our record is. I just hope that we win, right? Get the W, hoist the trophy. If you do that, and you just so happen to be in the top 14, top 15, guess what? Both teams are in. Would the first 4 conference winner bye thing, would it help? Yeah. But as much as this thing is designed to benefit the SEC and the Big 10, you and I both know that nobody's going to go, hooting and hollering about making sure that the Big 12 has one of the 4 conference title first round buys. So I wouldn't bank on it, but again, I don't care. Neither should you. As long as we get 2 teams in, it doesn't even matter who the 2 teams are. There's no OU. There's no Texas. There's no bickering back and forth as of right now. I know Arizona State could make that life difficult. I know Utah tries, right? At least some of their fans do. But it's a big year for the Big 12. It was a big day the other day for Cowboy faithful and Cowgirl faithful. And it could be a big year for national title number 54 to come to Stillwater. It should be the expectation, right? With all of these sports being in the top 5 right here, right now, has there ever been a better time? Has there ever been a better year for Oklahoma State country to say we should win a national title this year and could win multiple this year? It's rare. Just like how many returning starters we have in football is rare. Just like having 90% of your roster return is rare. Having Ollie Gordon turn down all these SEC schools is rare. We just have to now capitalize. Mike Gundy needs to capitalize. Casey Dunn, somehow, please capitalize. That way you help Brett Yormark and the Big 12 capitalize together. All right, y'all. So we're going to have for this one right here, I love you. As always, God bless. Go Pokes. Thank you for tuning in to make this your first listen here on Locked On Oklahoma State. You could be anywhere. So happy you choose to be here. Stop, collaborate, go hit the daggone like button, share it. comment, subscribe. My podcast people, I love you. You're the foundation. Hit the stars, leave a review. All right, you know what to do. Later, taters.